Could we see a possible return of Hell in a Cell of a former WWE superstar? Someone's out with a foot injury. That and many more. The JFB is back from vacation, yo. It's just another effing woo podcast. Hit the music. Coming to you live from the effing Worldwide Media Studios, located in parts unknown. Just another effing podcast. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and if I don't see you later, good night. Happy Sunday. It is just another effing podcast.
And we are going to talk about nothing until nothing is enough.
Oh, yeah. I am, of course, the original rump shaker. I am extreme. I'm hardcore. Oh, my God. It's the JFB, James from Boston.
And I am the patron saint of professional wrestling, blessing you every single Sunday. I am that gingered up bubbly son of a bitch. I'm Canada Dry, damn it.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, we're always in the company of this man. You would think
he's on the show every week.
Yeah, I know. He's literally been on the show for like the last 5 weeks. He might as well just be a permanent host on Just Another podcast. Introduce yourself, my man.
Of course, you all know me as the Magician. You can find me pretty much everywhere on this channel lately. But of course, I'm live on this channel Saturday night with my show, The Magic of Wrestling, as we talk about everything wrestling from fans all the way around the world.
Sweet Happy Johnson. So before we get started, we have, of course, we are, we're full of jocularity, hilariousness. We shenanigans abound, but we do have a serious segment every week. And it is Kenny Lee. Kenny likes to do a week in review, a more serious take on what's happened in the action. Of course, the big event coming up is Hell in the Cell. I'm sure he's got a preview of that.
Every single week. He's killing
every single week. He's on. So he's in our green room. Let me. There we go. All right, Kenny. We'll get to you a little bit later, but first, before we get into anything else, we got to get into the news. From the four corners of the globe to your backyard, this is FNN, FN News Network, starring Canada Drive and the JFB. Good morning.
Oh, good morning to you. Oh,
traffic is a bitch out there.
But this coffee is sweet as hell. How's the weather, Liam?
It's pretty dull out here. It's raining. It's just constantly raining. We're expecting thunderstorms.
Ooh.
Oh, so bring an umbrella out there.
Make sure you leave a little bit extra early for your job. You don't want to get caught in the thunderstorms. All right, let's get to the news.
Hold on. This just in.
Yeah. Has
anyone seen my toothbrush?
I stole your toothbrush.
You stole my toothbrush.
We'll play hot and cold in the studio. You see if you can find it.
A little bit later.
So CM Punk, the brand new AEW champion. What's up, Joseph Graham? CM Punk wins at Double or Nothing, and holy cow, he's got a broken foot. Requires surgery. There's nothing in the cup. It's all a gimmick, yo. It's a work cup. It's a work cup.
I'm drinking water, so.
So CM Punk's got an injury. He is going to be out with surgery. There's no timetable. He did mention it to Tony Khan. Tony Khan said, you know what? I trust in you. This is just a bump in the road. So they're going to have an interim champion that will be crowned at Forbidden Door. Who do we think is going to be at Forbidden Door wrestling for the interim championship? I will leave it to you, gentlemen.
Wow. Starting off with a bang here.
Well, I think one of them is going to be, I forget what his name was, the one that was going to be CM Punk's original opponent will be one of them.
So you think Tanahashi?
Yes, I couldn't remember.
We know
the
Moxley
name.
will be. Moxley, they're going to have a battle royal, and that person will face Moxley at Forbidden Door. So you think Tanahashi possibly could be?
Well, we don't know if Mox will win because we don't know who he's going to be in the main event with. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. Liam, who do you think, brother?
I'm going to say Will Ospreay. I mean, I would really like to see Will Ospreay. Big fan of his. So we've not really. I think it's going to be somebody we've not actually seen in AEW from like New Japan.
Yeah, I think. Here's my thing. You're gonna love this. I'm actually stealing this from a Twitter user that follows us on our Just Another effing podcast tweet machine, our tweet gimmick. MJF is going to win the battle royal. MJF is going to beat Moxley, or MJF is going to win the battle royal. He's going to face Moxley, but Moxley is going to end up injured. And so there's going to be a surprise opponent at Forbidden Door. It's going to be Barry Windham or Windham Rotunda, otherwise known as Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt is going to win the belt, and it's another former WWE superstar that will beat MJF. There you go.
Okay, I have a different theory.
Okay.
MJF wins the battle royal.
Yeah.
MJF somehow beats Moxley.
Yeah.
Wins whoever it is against New Japan, becomes the interim AEW champion.
Yeah.
Only to lose it to CM Punk when he comes back.
We predicted, we had our prediction show who we thought the next 4 or 5 champions were going to be. And
this really threw a wrench in that.
Yeah. Well, everybody else besides me picked CM Punk. I picked MJF, not knowing that he was going to have a hissy fit and cut a promo.
Technically, the interim champion doesn't really count. It's this whole.
That's true.
It's a bit of a placeholder.
Yeah, it's a placard, is what it is. Tay Connie, Sam Guevara. Sorry, Dally. Sammy Guevara is now spoken for. He is engaged to Tay Connie in front of the Eiffel Tower. What a gimmick. Like, that hasn't been done a million times already. Jeez.
This makes you want
something original.
Up. Makes you want to throw up.
Yeah. If you're going to do it in Paris, do it in Paris, Texas, damn it. That's new. Who gets married in Paris, Texas?
Just like Jim and Pam, they got married at a gas station in the rain. Come on.
Exactly.
That was more romantic than that.
Yeah, way more romantic than that. Speaking of MJF cutting a promo, he cut a scathing promo at Dynamite, which resulted in him being cut from the TV intro. He no longer has his merch on shopaew.com, and he's not even on the roster technically if you go to AEW's website. Are we still thinking this is a work, or do we honestly think this is a shoot move by Tony Khan?
This is absolutely a work. A shoot turned into a work.
Yeah.
They thought that, what better way than to just play off of the heat that was going on with MJF. That probably is a generational segment in wrestling. We're going to be talking about that in 10 years.
Oh yeah. When we do our revisit, our revisit of greatest promos of all time, this is probably going to be in that as well. Liam, what do you think? Shoot or a work?
I'm going to say a work, because I think if it was a shoot, wouldn't the mic been cut off like so far through?
Yeah.
That's the way I obviously see it. But I mean, the promo itself, wow, he did not hold back.
Yeah.
And if it is a work, I mean, there's a lot of people saying it's a work, some saying it's a shoot. The main thing is it's getting people talking.
Yeah. All I got to say is this. One day, I'm going to get hired by a film producer, and I'm going to call him a mark. I'm going to say, you're a fucking mark. That's what I'm going to do. That's how I'm going to exit a
We
film.
need a guy in here named Mark so we can call him. Yeah, Mark. He's like, he can't deny it.
Yeah. So, hey, what's everybody's favorite title back in the day from the WWE? Mine is the Intercontinental title. It was the Workman's title. That was the Wrestlers title. Second straight pay-per-view, it is not being defended. That is right. Ricochet is not defending his Intercontinental belt at Hell in the Cell. What in the hell is going on at WWE that your second most prestigious belt is not being defended on a pay-per-view? Guys, what do you think?
Oh man, I
I
don't know what's going on. And I hate being negative, but that belt needs to be defended at least twice a month.
Yeah, I agree.
At least twice a month, that belt needs to be defended.
Absolutely.
As Joseph Graham says,
other than
that's probably true. Roman Reigns, nothing else matters.
That's true. WWE likes to hitch their cart to just one horse and let that horse run until it dies. So they're definitely doing that. W. Morrissey, otherwise known as Big Cass, no longer at Impact. So, Liam, where does the formerly known as Big Cass end up?
I can't see him going back to WWE. I mean, he was wasted there. Obviously, he made that appearance in AEW. I'd like to see him in AEW because I think he's a great, obviously, wrestler. He's obviously come back from a big, massive drinking problem, health problems. So, yeah, I'm saying AEW.
Sweet. Canada Drive, what do you think, brother?
I think WWE would be the perfect place for him right now.
Yeah.
Bring him back as a monster. Like if Vince can do anything, he can give someone that monster treatment.
Yeah.
He's good at it.
Yeah.
And I think
he's done it for decades.
I think Big Cass, he paid his time on an Impact and away from WWE, up in the Indies as well.
Yeah.
So I think he's earned that redemption and the chance to go to WWE, and I don't think he would scoff at the opportunity.
No. It's all about that, man. It's all about cash in the bank account. So, current WWE wrestler Dolph Ziggler was actually seen backstage at AEW Dynamite this past week. Obviously, his brother works there. Ryan Nemeth is his brother. He was there to see Johnny Extreme or Johnny Elite or whatever he's calling himself now.
He's got a lot of friends. Chris Jericho.
Yeah, he's got a lot of friends.
WWE guys, they're all good friends. So.
Yeah. So, internet wrestling community, take a deep breath. He's not going to AEW anytime soon. He still has a couple years left on his contract.
Let's talk about this.
WWE chill.
Yeah, relax, Vince.
How big would it be if Dolph Ziggler came to AEW? And
I think it would be a huge get for them. That, say what you will about him, that guy is a worker. That there is nobody who works.
Had a hell of a promo too.
Nobody works a match like Dolph Ziggler. That man.
It should have been me. I love that promo. Imagine a Nemeth tag team.
Yeah,
that would be good. Brothers. That'd be cool.
So Thunder Rosa expressing her frustrations of lack of exposure as the AEW champion, feels that other people are getting more TV time than she is. Is this a legitimate gripe? I mean, she is the AEW Women's Heavyweight Champion. I know that there are some of us on this podcast who do not like her, Canada Dry. And, I think it's a legit argument. She is the champ. She should be on TV. What do you guys think? What do you think, Liam?
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to say I made peace with Thunder Rosa.
Okay, good. It's about freaking time.
I made peace with Thunder Rosa. I tweeted her actually, and she liked it. She's giving away her outfit from the last pay-per-view, and she's giving that to charity. So nothing like something like that's going to get on the good side of Canada Dry. So Thunder Rosa, that's awesome. But I don't know if she just said something to someone and it got bigger than it was. Like,
yeah,
that's what I think happened.
Yeah. What do you think, Liam?
I can understand the frustration because looking back now, apart from a few little things with Shivani, how much TV time has she had since she's been the champion? I can't think of much, to be honest.
Yeah. So let's go to Miro. After 8 long months in, I don't know, Siberia or wherever semi-Russian wrestlers from Bulgaria tend to go, he appeared and defeated Johnny Elite. Do we see more Miro now? Is Miro going to be a fixture on Dynamite, guys?
He's going to kick ass in that battle royal. I don't know if he's going to win it, but he's going to eliminate a lot of people.
Yeah. What do you think, Lee?
He'll be a prominent feature in that battle royal next week.
Yep, I hope so, because obviously, I mean, he's got loads of frustration. He's been used for, I think, what did you say, 8 months?
Yeah.
So yeah, he's going to have a lot of frustration. I do obviously see him winning a title. Which title? I'm not too sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. I love seeing Miro come back, the Redeemer, if you will. A possible IWGP title match at Forbidden Door. Meltzer is reporting it, so take it with a grain of salt. Apparently is going to be Hangman Page versus Okada for the IWGP heavyweight title, all depending on what happens at Dominion, New Japan Pro Wrestling's pay-per-view, which is about 2 weeks before Forbidden Door. So if Okada retains, that's the possible match, is Hangman versus Okada. Do anybody interested in that match? Because I'd rather Okada face someone else, but what do you guys think?
I'm happy with whatever they give us. Honestly, I'm new to the New Japan scene, so
Yeah.
I'm just happy to take it in.
Yeah. What do you think, Liam?
I'm with obviously Canada Dry on this one. Obviously, I'm still learning with the New Japan thing. So whether Okada gets, whether Hangman gets, I'm just going to, like I said, just take it in, and then we're going to see.
Sweet. One last thing. We're talking about Wyndham Rotunda, formerly known as Bray Wyatt, tweeting cryptic messages again about a possible return, which has the internet abuzz. And the internet wrestling community, for the most part, thinks it's going to be at Hell in a Cell. What do you guys think about formerly known as Bray Wyatt showing up at Hell in a Cell? Canada Dry, go.
Well, I think the only way you can do Wyndham in AEW is I don't want to see it take away from the House of Black.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see the House of Black kind of compete with them. So
yeah,
only way is it could be the different sort of character.
Yeah.
Than he has been.
Yeah.
So even a non-scary character would be awesome. Just be who you are. But I could easily see him going back to WWE because they have the money.
Yeah.
They're the ones that can afford him.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard his asking price is pretty high. Liam, what do you think, brother?
I can see him obviously debuting at Hell in a Cell, and the match I'm going to say for that is Seth versus Cody. Wyndham Rotunda turns and a feud with Cody. That's what I'm thinking.
Are you guys ready to barf? Look at George's comment.
He's going to control his narrative. Yep.
God damn it!
Look, George, you made Liam swear.
Oh, geez. All right, that's the end of the news. Holy crap. Control your narrative. What a train wreck that thing is. So let's go to our joke of the week. It is our good friend of the show, Bree. Here is joke of the week. Joke of the week brought to you by Planet Express. You can have your package shipped from pretty much any competent company, but why not take the risk? Planet Express. All right, here is Bree with our joke of the week.
Just another effing podcast with your joke of the week with Bree Mode. You know what my joke is? I'll tell you a secret. I used to be a wrestler. When I used to get them in the headlock, I'd write my name on their forehead, and I called it my signature move. It's killing them with kindness with Brina.
Oh, I love Bree. She's such a character.
Oh shit, that was really good. I like that one. I might steal that one.
It's good.
I'm
It's a
stealing that
signature
one,
move.
Bree, and if I make any
The
money from it,
signature move.
my signature
You
move.
know what?
I like that one.
If they did that on TV on AEW,
Yeah.
someone pull out a pen and start signing their name, my signature move. Oh, that would get over so big.
Well, we are good friends with Tony Khan. We have a direct link, so we might send that joke of the week to Tony Khan, see what Tony thinks, and
it would
maybe
be
he
killer.
can. El Fuego del Sol, maybe that will be his signature move. He can. I like it.
Or even
All right,
Jericho
so
doing it would be great.
let's get into. Oh, geez, you know what? We have a great main event, ladies and gentlemen. The main event.
Gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Holy cow. Well, let me tell you about the backstory of our main event. We are, of course, talking about Extreme Championship Wrestling.
ECF&W.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, we always talk about on Wednesday what we're going to talk about for the week. And the running joke is I'm always suggesting ECW, and Aaron, Mr. Canada Dry, says, no, we're not going to talk about ECW. He doesn't know enough about ECW. And I'm like, dude, it's on the network. All you got to do is just tune in and watch. Stop watching all that weird Canadian stuff and just watch ECW. And so we go back and forth. This has been a running joke between us.
So we're getting the episode over with, and we never, ever have to do it again.
So I won, and so we are going to talk about one of my favorite promotions. I didn't know about ECW really until I got invited to go to a show. I was on a travel soccer team, and a friend that knew I was a wrestling fan who lived in Philadelphia was like, hey, we should go to, you want to go to an ECW show? And I'm like, sure, what the hell? It's wrestling. And at that minute, I was hooked. I tape traded. I got as much as I possibly could. I stayed up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning to watch ECW. That's how awesome ECW was. And so instead of talking about the great moments of ECW, which we all could do, and that may be for another show if Canada Dry can get them drunk enough, we decided to do the top 10 wrestlers of ECW. And so
that ECW logo looks so good with our logo.
I know. You would think. But yeah, it looks freaking sweet. I think we should take it. I think we should
rip it off
that ECW logo. So let's go with our number 10. We are, of course, talking about Raven. Who's better than Raven? Nobody. And nobody took the gimmick in ECW better than Raven. Still considered to this day one of the most underrated heels. He would have some of the greatest rivalries in ECW with the Sandman and in all of wrestling with Tommy Dreamer. Their rivalry, which had memorable matches like the Tommy Kingdom, lasted almost 2 years. He even crucified Sandman, which resulted in Kurt Angle to go to WWE. Even his flock, his faction had amazing talent like Billy Kidman and Perry Saturn. Let's wax poetic about Raven. Go for it, guys.
Well, Raven, what can you say? Like, you talk about a guy who he has 1 foot longer than the other.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that maximized his talent and took it. What was he in WWF? He was Johnny Polo. He was like a manager or something. And he turns this Johnny Polo, what he was given, and turns it into this massive thing.
Yeah.
I think Raven is probably one of the greatest ECW originals of all time.
Yeah. What do you think, Liam?
Obviously, with ECW, obviously Unique got obviously banded about a bit, and for me, when it comes to Unique, Raven's definitely up there. I mean, the feud with Tommy Dreamer is probably one of my personal favorite feuds.
Yeah.
Great guy. And like I said, one of the most controversial moments with the Sandman. What can you say about that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and here's the thing with Raven, and I think he has a great mind for the business. Psychologically, how to wrestle, how to book matches, really how to develop characters. He's done it backstage for almost as many years as he's actually wrestled, which is a testament to his love for the sport, but his love for everything that's wrestling.
And he was recently on NWA in a scene with Natalia Markova, so that was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah,
and
he works backstage for NWA, so.
And he was also trained by Jake the Snake Roberts. So,
yep.
Who better than someone trained by Jake the Snake? Like,
nobody.
That Jake knows what he's talking about, and he helped develop Raven.
Yeah. So let's get to our number 9. You can't talk about hardcore or extreme without talking about Cactus Jack. When ECW went from Eastern Championship Wrestling to Extreme Championship Wrestling, they blew the doors wide open and created some of the most amazing talent. Some, however, were extreme and hardcore before coming to ECW, and Mick Foley, a.k.a. Cactus Jack, was one of the best in the game. After cutting his teeth with WCW, World Class Championship Wrestling in the WWF, Foley was like a fish to water, bloodthirsty and violent. He became a cornerstone of the extreme movement. He would even have the gimmick of never doing hardcore matches, which made him even more red hot. Of course, his best rivalry was with our number 7, or our number 8. Excuse me. So let's talk about Cactus Jack for a minute. I know fondly for me, the year he spent refusing to wrestle hardcore was lit. I'm not gonna go tables, and like the fans would be like, tables, put it through a table, and he'd be like, no, I'm not gonna do it through a table, and he wanted to legit wrestle. So I mean, he knew how to. He just knew how to do it and how to do it right. What do you guys think about Cactus Jack?
Oh, Cactus Jack and ECW. It cemented his role to WWE a little bit later.
Yeah.
But yeah, without that ECW run, we don't get Mick Foley. We don't get Mankind.
Yeah.
We don't get the 3 faces of Foley, Dude Love.
Yeah.
Because his time at ECW, Vince must have saw, or someone saw it and wanted to show Vince, and Vince was, by God, we gotta get that guy over here.
Yeah.
Just everything he did in ECW was gold.
Yeah, absolutely. We
What
think
can I
Liam
say more than Cactus Jack. Mick Foley is amazing.
Yeah,
I think the thing is, obviously, while he was in ECW, he didn't really do. It wasn't there long, if I remember rightly. So you can't really remember much. But the guy, he could wrestle, and I love the bit where he refused to obviously fight, obviously hardcore style. That's all I'm gonna say on that one. I think you guys have covered that one pretty much all of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, and it's funny because he's wrestling here and also wrestling in IWF in Japan, which is a death match haven. And so the fact that he was so brutal in Japan, but flat out refused to do anything hardcore in the United States was just hilarious.
He also spent a little bit of time in UHF as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What UHF? What is it? UFL? What was it?
FMW?
What was it?
Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling?
Yeah, the one with they had that weird title and they brought in Andre for a week.
UWF.
Yeah, that's what UWF. UHF. I'm thinking of the Weird Al movie, damn it.
Yeah, hey, nothing wrong with that Weird Al movie.
Yes.
That
Who wants to drink from the fire hose?
You want nothing. Absolutely nothing. We could do a whole show about UHF. We might actually do that one day. Let's go to our number 8, Cactus Jack's greatest rival. We are, of course, talking about Terry Funk. Terry Funk was one of the toughest son of a bitches to have ever laced up a pair of boots. He was hardcore before anyone came up with that term. He could and has taken some of the worst beatings in wrestling in his life. After stints in Japan doing death matches, he came to ECW and tore the house down with some of his matches, many of those against Cactus Jack. This man headlined the first pay-per-view, Barely Legal, where he won the ECW Heavyweight Championship. Who could forget also the chair tossing match? So let's talk about Terry Funk, otherwise known as Chainsaw Charlie in WWF. Let's go.
Charlie.
Wow.
Wow. Terry Funk. A freaking legend. I have his Funk You t-shirt. Funk University. I have that shirt. But he is a legend with barbed wire matches. Just everything about Terry Funk just screams professional wrestling. I remember seeing it. Wasn't it WrestleMania 2? Him and Dory Funk.
Yeah. Yep.
That was his big WWF moment.
And Dory Funk Jr., his brother.
Yeah, but Terry Funk really established himself as a hardcore legend.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. What do you think, Liam?
I think this is the guy who obviously boosted the fan base for ECW. I mean, obviously he was a legend before he went there.
Yeah.
If there's one word which you could describe, obviously Terry Funk, it's probably giving. The guy who literally put his body on the line no matter what, and a great entertainer.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, and Paul Heyman has even gone on record saying if it wasn't for Terry Funk coming in, ECW would not have lasted a year. They had a lot of young talent. He was the only veteran that came in besides Shane Douglas.
And Bam Bam.
What's that?
Bam Bam.
Yeah, Bam Bam. Yeah. But, he was the first veteran that came on the scene for ECW and really led the charge and gave them some legitimacy. And, one of my favorite matches was the tag match with him and Cactus Jack when Terry Funk yelled out to the crowd, "I need a chair." And then about 150 to 200 chairs definitely flew into the middle of the ring and covered their tag team opponents. It was glorious. We'll put a link to that video in the show notes.
You better, because I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. It's a great little scene. So let's go to our number 7, and we are going to, of course, talk about the franchise Shane Douglas. Love him or hate him, Shane Douglas played a very important part in the formation of ECW. He cut his teeth in WCW and WWF. He eventually found himself in the NWA, wrestling for Eastern Championship Wrestling. Eventually, he would be in a tournament for the NWA heavyweight belt, which he beat Too Cold Scorpio. After being presented the 10 pounds of gold, he tossed it into the trash and proclaimed that ECW would always be known as Extreme Championship Wrestling and started referring himself as a franchise. He would remain one of the pillars of ECW until he had a really bad falling out with Paul Heyman. So let's talk about the franchise Shane Douglas.
So who was he in WWF before this?
He was the professor or the Dean Douglas. That's who he was.
Dean Douglas. Yes. Yeah. That I love those little teacher moments, and he's teaching. Oh my goodness. Wasn't he Intercontinental Champion?
Yes, he was.
Took it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shane Douglas. I think he really was that first guy to really. And the fact that he was Dean Douglas in WWF really helped him to really elevate himself in ECW.
Yeah.
And then his time in WCW after that as the franchise. I think he was one of those guys that just got a bad rap and underrated.
Yeah. I'll agree with you on that. What do you think, Liam? What do you think about Mr. Shane Douglas?
I mean, obviously, Canada Dry said that it was underrated. I fully agree, but I mean, you've got a guy here who holds the record for the most combined days, which is 874, I believe. Is that correct?
Yep.
And he also has the longest single reign, 460. So that's pretty much says everything it does. I mean, great guy, great wrestler, and obviously with the moment when he threw the NWA title, it's like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, you were. That was the wake up moment, And what's funny is that. While Paul Heyman knew what was going to happen and Shane Douglas did, no one else knew that this was going to happen, especially even the owner of Eastern Championship Wrestling, Todd. Todd didn't have any idea that they were going to do this at all. And, Paul Heyman's
thing to do.
Yeah. And Paul Heyman, the famous saying is, ask for forgiveness, not for permission. So, and he certainly did it. So let's go to our number 6. Yeah, we did it. Some guys look like wrestlers. Some look like they could be wrestlers. And then you have the Sandman. Years before Stone Cold would guzzle victory beers, there was Sandman coming down the ramp to Metallica well before bands sued or were charging for the use of their music. He always had a cigarette in his mouth and a beer with a kendo stick. Sandman was the zero fucks given hardcore wrestling, whether he was caning Tommy Dreamer, being crucified by Raven, or just causing mayhem for the hell of it. He was a central figure for ECW. He won the ECW championship 5 times. So let's talk about the Sandman. Let's talk about Sandman, or Hardcore Hack, as he was known in
Go
WCW.
ahead, Liam.
When you think of guys in ECW who put the bodies on the line, I mean, Sandman literally is, for me, on the top. I mean, he got blinded after a lit cigarette in his eye, heavy metal frying pan, obviously with concussion. He had his own son brainwashed by Raven, which is still a little good segment there. And as you said there, he holds the record 5 times for ECW title.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the thing about Sandman is he is ECW.
Yeah.
He didn't succeed anywhere else.
No, he did not. He had
You
no.
know, he tried to go to
WCW.
He tried to go to WCW, but he lasted 1 match.
Yeah, pretty
They
much.
didn't like him smoking on his way to the ring. He just couldn't survive in any other corporate atmosphere.
Yeah.
So, you know, he is that. He's like, if you're going to talk about guys, like, he is one of the faces of ECW.
Oh yeah.
You know, you get him and Tommy Dreamer, but I think Sandman's closer to the face than Tommy is, I think.
Yeah. And here's what's so funny is that on the DVD, and it's on the network as well, The Rise and Fall of ECW, Kurt Angle was at that show and appeared in the ring after the crucifixion, or before the crucifixion, went to Paul and said, listen, if this is the kind of garbage that you're going to put out in ECW, I don't want any part of this, and I don't want to be on your show. And if you show me on TV, I'm going to sue the hell out of you. And left, and he signed with WWE the next day. Sure enough, that weeks of television, they showed Kurt Angle in the ring. He tried to sue him, not realizing that this was at a time when WWE was financially helping ECW stay afloat. You know, so
well, Kurt Angle still won because he went to WWE.
Yeah, we can thank Sandman for giving Kurt Angle to WWE. We can thank Sandman for that. So let's go to our number 5. And of course, you can't talk about hardcore. It takes a certain kind of person to do extreme and hardcore wrestling. You have to tiptoe on that line between insanity and insanity. It also helps to have a few screws loose, and that is exactly what New Jack had. He had violence running through his veins and mayhem in his soul. There wasn't an object he didn't turn into a weapon. If it wasn't the grueling and violent matches, it was sometimes the dives from sometimes 30, 40, or 50 feet high up in the air, crashing through multiple stacks of tables. Always controversial. One only has to look at his match with Mass Transit. During the match, after Mass Transit lied about his age and the time of his training, New Jack bladed him, and it went too deep, sending Mass Transit to the hospital. The lore of New Jack was sealed in blood. Let's talk about New Jack. Rest in peace. Of course, he passed in 2021. But yeah, let's talk about New Jack. Liam, what do you think about New Jack?
The guy was an absolute nutcase, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
he's a guy that literally did not give a shit if he was jumping off 20-foot ladders, balconies. He just put his body on the line. Great guy, and I mean, look at the picture there. Look at the scar.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Canada Dry?
Wow, this one's hard for me because, you know, when I watched that episode of Dark Side of the Ring, I just had that gross feeling in the pit of my stomach.
Yeah.
That an individual could harm someone for real.
Yeah.
Like when he hurt Mass Transit, Like, you didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
You know, this is a guy. You guys be lied. This is a guy that wants that's trying to live his dream and be a professional wrestler, and you beat the living shit out of him. Like, that's a shitty person. And you know, I know he's dead, but
Yeah.
I can't say anything nice about New Jack.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean, the thing about Mass Transit was he did lie about his age. He said he was 21. He was actually 16.
What the hell is this, Alex Haney?
Oh, yeah. He's got the COVID. Yo, don't
Yeah.
spread it over the interwebs.
He
Don't
just
give us a
coughed
virus.
all over us.
Mass Transit lied about his age. He said he was 21. He was definitely not. He was 16. He said he spent 4 years training with Killer Kowalski. That was a lie. And told New Jack, blade me. I want a blade. And New Jack did it. And, you know, I mean,
It's almost like going to a serial killer and say, cut me.
yeah.
It's like, don't.
I've met New Jack twice. I met him backstage at a wrestling event, and then I met him again at a meet and greet. Backstage at the wrestling thing, he was extremely scary, very intimidating, and I did not spend a lot of time. I just kind of shook his hand, said I'm a fan, and then I left because I feared for my life. When I met him at the meet and greet, that was probably one of the nicest guys I've ever met. And I think he gets a bad rap because there's stories about New Jack that are just completely screwed up. I mean, he's a violent offender. He's been arrested before, you know, but there's just something about him as a person. If you can get past the scars and that railroad track of a forehead and, get to that point where you get to meet the person, it kind of changes your
And if you don't know about New Jack, go watch The Dark Side of the Ring,
Yeah.
and they can tell you way more about it than we can.
Yeah. They'll do it in way more bloody gore and detail than we ever could.
Yeah.
So let's go to our number 4. We are, of course, talking about Sabu. There are just a few wrestlers that are synonymous with hardcore wrestling, and Sabu revolutionized it. He learned the trade in New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he actually won the IWGP Junior Heavyweight belt before heading to FMW, Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling, and taking up the hardcore and deathmatch wrestling. It was then an easy transition to ECW. He would come to the ring in a Hannibal Lecter mask, billed as an uncontrollable madman, and that was exactly what he was. He combined high flying with brutal hardcore death matches, ropes made of barbed wire, C4, bed of nails, you name it, he did it. His most memorable rivalry was, of course, with Taz, and it took a year before they even actually touched. His greatest match was the barbed wire match for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship with Terry Funk. Both men had to actually be cut out of the barbed wire, with Sabu having a severely torn bicep. Let's talk about Sabu. Canada Dry, what are your thoughts on Mr. Sabu?
You know, I have nothing but respect for Sabu. He went all around the world.
Yeah.
Perfecting his trade. And, he would do things that were revolutionary in wrestling.
Yep.
You know, I remember seeing him on Raw for the first time, jumping off the Raw sign onto, I don't even know who he's jumping on, but he was jumping onto somebody when he showed up on Raw when they invaded. I was like, who is this guy? And I don't know why Sabu didn't really make it anywhere else, because he was huge.
Yeah. What do you think, Liam?
I love the high flying style combined with the obviously extreme side. I mean, you can see him jumping off literally anything. So when I think of ECW, this is the first guy for me who comes to mind.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing.
Suicidal, genocidal.
Yeah,
Sabu.
I had that shirt, the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal Sabu. I love Sabu. I'm not a huge deathmatch wrestling fan. I will watch it on a very rare occasion. But there was just something different about him. You know, the fact that most of the time in ECW, he never talked. He didn't cut promos. He barely ever talked. It was something he learned from his uncle, the original Sheik. was to be more mysterious, and that is what would sell, especially if you're billed from a foreign country and you can't technically speak
So did
English.
Sabu have a mouthpiece for him or no?
He did. Yeah, he had a manager. Bill. He had several throughout his career. So, but yeah, that is Sabu. Sabu. So we're gonna go to our number 3. This one holds a dear place in my heart, and I'll give you an explanation why. We are talking about the human suplex machine, Taz, with 1 Z. Damn it, not 2 Z's. WWE. Taz was a handful of ECW originals that was there from the beginning.
WWE put him with 2 Z's.
Yeah, 2 Z's. And almost end of its initial run. The human suplex machine was a fixture, first as the Tasmaniac before going to just Taz. Along with his amazing suplex movesets in the Taz mission, which was a kata, oh boy, here we go, kata hajime, a rear naked choke. His rivalry with Sabu is one of the greatest rivalries of all time. While Taz was injured with a broken neck, he would cut these slashing promos about Sabu that went on for about a year before they even touched. Not only did he wrestle for Heyman, he also won the ECW heavyweight belt as a contracted WWE wrestler by beating Mike Awesome, who is a newly signed WCW. Taz, of course, did a lot more behind the scenes. He actually helped design their logo. So the ECW logo that we talked about earlier was designed by Taz. He helped design their belts and tees, as well as helping Heyman with marketing. The reason why I love Taz is because Taz used to have this show on CBS radio called The Taz Show, and it would be a podcast, but it was a live call-in show. And he was the one who christened me as James from Boston, and he would occasionally refer to me as the JFB. So if you want to know where that came from, you can thank number 3, Orange 13, the FTW.
That is a really cool story.
Yeah.
That he gave you that name. I love it.
He gave me that moniker. I thank him every day. He ignores most of my tweets, but that's okay.
Well, it doesn't matter. You're JFB now, damn it.
I'm JFB. So what do you guys think about Taz?
Go ahead, Liam.
So the one thing I like about Taz is it don't matter if the person was 200 pounds bigger than him, taller than him, it would just literally kick ass, to be honest. And I love his entrance music, just straight, no like fancy stuff, straight walking, means business.
Yep.
And yeah, great guy.
Yeah. What do you think? Mr. Canada Dry?
Well, here's a guy that's named Taz, and he literally looks like the Tasmanian devil.
He does.
I remember when he showed up at WWF for that invasion angle. I was like, "Who's this short fucker?" But then he took somebody and just like beat the shit out of him. I'm like, "Oh, he is literally like Tasmanian devil."
Yeah.
And see him in AEW. He's just got such a great mind, and I'm so glad that FTW title still exists.
Yeah,
and it's got that lineage. Taz was awesome.
Yeah,
in ECW, and I wish he would have got that more of a run in WWE.
Yeah,
before he went to the commentary booth. But
I agree.
but
WWE buried him. When the story was Mike Awesome signed with WCW. He was going to go to WCW. Heyman was afraid he was going to bring the belt with him. So he asked Vince McMahon for Taz, specifically for Taz, to come and fight at a pay-per-view or to get the belt off Mike Awesome. And then he won. And then Taz went on Raw the next night and wore the belt. And here's an opportunity and a chance to be displayed amongst millions of people watching worldwide as the ECW heavyweight champion. And Vince McMahon buried his ass and made him lose in less than 5 minutes to Triple H.
Well, I think that Vince McMahon didn't get him.
Yeah.
He's like,
no, he didn't.
He's the short guy, Yeah. I remember you were talking about Kurt Angle earlier.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle referenced that later on a WWE show, how Taz beat the shit out of him and
Yeah.
returned the favor on SmackDown one night.
Yep, absolutely. So let's go to our number 2. And of course, you can't talk about ECW without the innovator of violence, Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer was ECW. He was there from virtually the beginning, playing the pretty boy babyface before transforming into the hardcore legend, Tommy Dreamer, and was there exactly when ECW eventually folded. He was involved in some of wrestling's best grudge matches. His rivalry, obviously, with Sandman, being caned by him over and over, made Tommy Dreamer a made man. It didn't matter what the match was or who the opponent was. He left it all in the ring, and that's what made him nearly the greatest wrestler in ECW. He was the innovator of violence. He wrestled the best of the best, the Ravens, the Dudleys, and so on. He did all of this and was the only world champion once, and even worked in Heyman's parents' basement doing a lot of their marketing. If you bought an ECW t-shirt or any merch from ECW during the heyday, it was touched by Tommy Dreamer. He did all the shipping, and he would collect all the money at the gate and at the concessions and would bring it to the bank. That is Tommy Dreamer. So let's talk about Tommy Dreamer, Mr. ECW.
Well, I think when you think of Tommy Dreamer, you think of the ultimate chaser of the belt.
Yeah.
Like, he was the best chaser of that world championship, and that's really what you want to see, rather than, like when they don't get the belt and they're foiled over and over. It's great.
Yeah.
You want them. It's like tugs at your heartstrings.
Yeah.
And Tommy Dreamer, he held the belt, but it's always better for him to be the chaser, and there's something special about chasing that championship.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was the best of that.
Yeah. What do you think, Liam?
Here we have a guy who was obviously the heart and soul of ECW. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, every match he had, he left it all in the ring. I mean, and it's not only he stayed there until they closed the doors. I mean, I don't know how many wrestlers obviously left ECW, but here's a guy who stayed there right to the very end.
Yeah,
Heyman says, Heyman would stop him from getting to the bank. So
yeah, there's a lot of documented evidence about Paul Heyman bouncing payroll checks. So let's go to our number 1. We are, of course, talking about the whole effing show, Mr. Rob Van Dam. Very few of the guys and girls that worked in ECW would enjoy mainstream success outside of the old bingo hall than Rob Van Dam. The whole effing show, from the minute he showed up, week before the first pay-per-view, barely legal to his departure to the WWE, he was a star. Despite his laid-back surfer stoner attitude, he had the body of a bruiser but flew like an angel. He had some of the most amazing matches with Sabu, but it was his rivalry and string of matches with Jerry Lynn that totally put him over. Even after his departure to WWE, he constantly waved the flag of ECW, and he was the one who was solely responsible for the ECW reunion show, One Night Stand, which essentially resurrected the ECW brand for WWE. So let's talk about the whole effing show, Rob Van Dam. Liam, what do you think?
I'm a huge RVD fan. Obviously, more in ECW. I wasn't a big fan in WWE, but the guy would put on a great show. Good high. I love this, like I said, the high flying. And if I remember rightly, ECW's greatest television champion, 700 days.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Candy Dry, what do you think?
Rob Van Dam was a legend before he was in WWE.
Yeah.
Like, he had that name recognition that no one in ECW had. Yep. And the moment he showed up in WWE, he was a made man already.
Yeah.
And, he's talking about the One Night Stand. It was really the last ECW show.
Yeah.
Having him beat John Cena.
Yeah.
The fans, if Cena wins, we riot. It's like, maybe Cena was going to win, but like, well, maybe we can't have him win.
Let's call it on the fly because they're going to burn this place down.
Maybe they did that. Maybe Cena was going to win.
Yeah. But, I mean, go, keep going.
I'd like to, let's do some honorable mentions.
Yeah, absolutely. I have 2. It's the Dudley Boys. I know that they weren't put on this, and there was a specific reason. they really weren't solo wrestlers. They were a tag team. We've talked about them in our tag team episodes before. I mean, 8-time ECW tag team champions. You know, there's a reason why I didn't put them specifically on that list, because they could. And here's a little unknown fact: Bubba Ray Dudley booked a majority of the matches for ECW. He took over a lot of the booking and writing for ECW when Paul Heyman was dealing with trying to get pay-per-views and trying to get a TV deal. So those two of mine, Devon and Bubba Ray. What are your guys' honorable mentions?
Oddly enough, I really like Mike Awesome.
Yeah.
Like, he just had that look. Just that killer attitude.
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed Mike Awesome, and sad that like after his WCW time, like he just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Liam, who you got for?
So I had two, obviously. Canada Dry just mentioned one there, Mike Awesome. I mean, I've just seen the comment from Graham with Tanaka. That was probably one of my favorite matches.
Yeah.
And the one we've not really mentioned, I want to know what you guys think. Rhino. That's one we really didn't get mentioned.
Yeah, the problem with Rhino, and the reason why I didn't put him on the list, is because he was there on the back end. You know, he was there probably about 2 years before they folded. I love Rhino. I mean, that guy is a brick shithouse that gores the hell. I mean, that's all he did was just gore people, and it was awesome to watch him make a bendable, flexible human being from a gore. I mean, it was just freaking amazing. I think he had better success away from ECW. In WWE and WCW and wherever else he ended up.
Amy Message's Abyss.
Yeah, that's late. I mean, that's like almost damn near the end of the run.
You know, it's shame I didn't get a WWE run.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you know, Joseph Park was loyal to TNA and Impact. I mean, he's there now. He's obviously a producer for WWE, but I mean, that's
yeah, but he's not getting to wrestle.
Yeah, he's not getting to wrestle yet.
Didn't he have a chance to go to WWE? I'm sure I read that somewhere.
I'm not sure. I know there was talk about it, but I don't.
Yeah, there was a talk, but it never really became anything.
Right. Okay, that's where we are. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, holy crap. That's our episode. Boys and girls, children of all ages. We just went extreme, and it was freaking awesome. It was so good to talk about ECW because they are one of my all-time favorite promotions, despite the fact that they just completely exploded and imploded, and they were bad, as with all promotions.
Unless we get Paul Heyman on the show, we're probably not going to do this for a while.
But that was our show. So you can go ahead and follow us on all the interwebs. If you go to fnwrestling.com, that is that's our meat and potatoes. That's our website. It has all our social media links. If you like the show, click like and subscribe. You can go ahead and be part of the show on YouTube. So go to YouTube, click like and subscribe.
I have a bit of an announcement here.
Go ahead.
So our Facebook page, All F in Wrestling.
Yeah,
we're starting a contest, weekly contest.
Yes,
and we're going to be giving away pro wrestling tees. We're giving away everything. We're going to have lots of stuff.
Yeah, you might get a headband from JFB that he sweated in when he was doing his run with his dog.
Please, we're trying to get people a part of this.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought maybe you could try to clone the JFB.
But yeah, we are going to be having a weekly contest where you bring people to the All F in Wrestling gimmick.
Yeah.
Then you will be entered into our draw. And if you join, you will also be entered into the draw. So it's a big promotion. We're going to be giving away some pro wrestling tees. You'll even get to choose which one you want, and you'll get to pick your favorite wrestler.
Yeah, sweet. You can't beat that, guys. And speaking of pro wrestling tees, we do have a pro wrestling tee store at prowrestlingtees.com/FN Wrestling, where you can get the Just Another Effing Podcast tee. You can get the TDST. Oh yeah, there it is, right there. TDS from ASW,
and the Magic of Wrestling shirt. That's
the Magic of Wrestling shirt, of course. If you're a fan of old school wrestling, and I know pretty much everybody that listens to our podcast is, we do run Adrian Adonis's page as well. It's prowrestlingtees.com/Adrian Adonis. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. Just go to our website. And so you listen to Wrestling the Paranormal is on Fridays. You listen to the Magic of Wrestling on Saturdays. You can listen to us on Sundays. We're all on YouTube. So all you have to do is click like and subscribe. And if you do, you'll be entered into our monthly drawing where you can win some swag. Bret Hart is the one for this month.
Yeah. So when are we giving that giveaway for that?
I think we'll do it at the end of June.
Okay, yeah. So the end of June, we'll be giving you a Bret Hart action figure.
Yeah, Bret Hart from Ringside Collectibles, which is cool. So with that being said, I know Hulk Hogan, he's not been on. Oh, speaking of which, oh shit, because we're at an hour right now. Kenny, I'm sorry, we ran out of time, Kenny. I'm sorry,
Kenny.
Yeah, well, we just, how the JFB is when he gets.
He did a great segment last week. He did a great segment last week.
Yeah, we'll get you next week. We'll get you next week.
We'll bring it
I
back.
promise. The JFB will be quiet. We'll do a subdued episode, so we have time to do. Yeah, very subdued. But Hulk Hogan obviously was not in ECW, but we do give him our show notes. We do talk about the show. What was Hogan's thoughts on our top 10? Was he happy?
Well, we didn't really talk too much about the show. We had a little bit of a chat, and oddly enough, Hulk Hogan he said, "Listen, bring me on the show, brother. We'll have a good heart to heart. We'll mend things." He said, "Only love," and so hopefully soon we'll get Hulk Hogan on the show. Nice. So that is, I'm going to give him a point. That's Effin' Wrestling. 329.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan 1. Canada Dry. Out.
This has been an Effin' Worldwide Media production. You can find us on all social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Want to be part of the show and win some free swag? Go to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Effin' Wrestling and click like and subscribe. And while you're at it, why don't you throw a tee on your back? Go to our Pro Wrestling Tee store at prowrestlingtees.com/Effin' Wrestling. You can find all these links and more at our awesome website, effinwrestling.com. And as the JFB always says, you can't